So you're a businessman, and what is this, why are you interested in education?
Yeah, I am interested in education because education is the foundation for everything in society. I think teachers do not get the appreciation, the validation that they should in society. Every CEO, every president, anybody that does any leadership role that is not in education was taught by a teacher. And I think we have to now bring it back to the very basics that if our country is to be great, how do we ensure that we're raising up a generation who understands that education is the equalizer for everyone? And once a person receives an education, that's their hand on a ladder, but they pull another generation up the ladder with them. And I think that's the profound thing. That's why I love education. And as a business person, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Miss Rita Lankus. My English teacher 31 years ago, who said to me, "Young man, I want you to write a speech." I'm imitating her. And I want you to give it before the entire school assembly, because what was interesting, when I was in 9th grade, I went to McKinley High School, which was named after our 25th president, William McKinley, and it was a trade high school, and you had to take air conditioning, refrigeration, carpentry, sheet metal, plumbing, and I failed all the classes. And I went out for the football team and I got cut. I went out for the basketball team. They said, "You are not the next Magic Johnson." And I went out for track in the field, and they said, "My brother, you are a little slow, right?" So my self-esteem was this big. But when I went to Bennett High School my sophomore year, Miss Rita Lankus saw something in me. And I recognize today that I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if there wasn't an educator who put their finger on me. But it didn't stop there. When I went to college, Dr. Johnetta Cole, who's former president of Spelman College and now a director at the Smithsonian, she said to me, "Young man, you are going to do something important with your life." And yet another educator who left an imprint on the canvas of my mind. So I am doing this work not just because I'm a business person. I'm doing this work because when we understand that education is the foundation for everything, then we recognize that all of us are called to be a part of the solution. It's about drawing out. How do we draw out the brilliance that is in everyone? And when we draw out that brilliance, everyone understands that I am brilliant just like you're brilliant. And it doesn't matter what side of the tracks you come from. Collectively, when we come together, we become brilliant together as a team. So that's why I do this work.
What is it about the word brilliance that really attracts you? Because that's kind of one of your branding pieces, brilliance.
Sure. So a lot of people often ask me, why do I talk about brilliance? And it's been a part of my journey forever. A number of years ago, my mentor, one of my mentors said to me, he says, "How are you doing?" And I said, "You know, if I had white skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes, it would be very easy to succeed in America." And he said to me, "What are you talking about? You weren't born to fit in. You were born to be brilliant." And when he said it, something just unlocked in me, because no one had ever told me that I was born to be brilliant. So then I started reading some of Dr. Howard Gardner's work, and Dr. Gardner in his research says when they looked at students up until the age of 4, they're operating at the genius level, but when they got into their early 20s, only 10% were still operating at the genius level, and in their late 20s, early 30s, only 2% were still operating at the genius or brilliance level. So the question that I had, like you had, is where did this genius or brilliance go? It didn't go anywhere, but it became buried by society that says, color within the line, sit down, give it back, you can't do that. And so when I looked at that, I said, wait a minute, everybody has brilliance, insight, potential, genius in them. And yes, it could be an overused word, but everyone has something in them. And how do we use education as the vehicle to help everyone find their flight plan so that they can soar and break the sound barriers that society and life will put around them? And when they break through the sound barrier, they bring everybody with them.
education is doing a very good job for more than half of our children.
Yes.
And the message we want to give is that we know that there are other kids who we aren't reaching. And it's digging in, finding those brilliant places within ourselves, or finding out what are the barriers within ourselves, what are the barriers in our school that keep us from engaging some of those children who aren't now engaged. I mean, a lot of the kids are, they're just going one foot in front of the other. They don't really have goals. They're just there because mom and dad are supposed to. They're not being terrible. They're not being behavioral problems, but they're not connecting with their own potential. And that's what makes me sad, because I agree with you. I think education can really help you, first of all, realize you have potential, and then get excited about it, and then work towards it.
That's it.
So it's figuring out, okay, I connect, for a teacher to say, I connect really well with these kids. Now, what am I doing with these kids that helps me connect? And then there's Johnny and Joey and Susie over here, and how can I reach them too? So it's not like you have to throw out everything, because we're doing a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And when you think about it, in education, a job is what you're paid to do.
Oh, yes.
But in the context of what we are teaching, releasing leadership brilliance is what you're made to do.
Yes.
And when educators make that distinction, I believe they recognize, like you have, that education is a calling to impact the least, the last, and the often forgotten. That is the essence of education. How do we make sure that no child falls between the cracks and doesn't feel the love that they are valued, that they are celebrated? To say, you are loved, you are kind, and you are very important to me. And that's what I believe educators do. That's what we want to do through this work.
And I think that's what we need to remind them of.
Yes, yes.
Because that's why they went into education.
Absolutely. We believe that you have made a tremendous impact. And we are just coming alongside you as supporters, as friends,
as advocates,
to just give you another framework to think through. Because everything you need, this is what we believe, everything you need to succeed is in you or around you. And we're just introducing you to a new methodology for you to consider.
New process. And we want to build, we are going to offer you also support so that you can step into it, try it out, see how this works. Think of it as an experiment.
And really get involved with our online community, breaking barriers together at releasingleadershipbrilliance.com. We believe that you'll meet amazing educators who are on the journey, who, like you, want to transform the classroom one student at a time, one school at a time, not because you have to, but because you want to.